I'm Wendy Friesen. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and I'm going to teach you how to hypnotize. There are many cool things we're going to learn about hypnotizing either your friends or your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, that kind of thing. But also you're going to learn some of the kind of beginning aspects of therapeutic hypnosis, how to frame suggestions and that kind of thing. So the first thing we want to do is learn what is hypnosis. Hypnosis is a relaxed, focused state of concentration. So what does that mean? Relaxed means that your body is so relaxed that you're in this profound state of relaxation where your body is so heavy, loose, and limp that it's like your brain doesn't have to spend any energy on monitoring your body. Of course, your body functions continue, but your mind doesn't even have to think about what your legs are doing of moving or use any of the energy or thought process to monitor your body. So that's the relaxed part of it. The focused part is that when you're in a state of trance, it's kind of similar to when you're watching a really good movie and your mind is really focused on what's happening in the movie, or you're reading a really good book. You are focused single-mindedly on what's being said or what you're seeing or what's being done. So you are very focused. Your mind is so much more focused when you're in trance that that's when you really absorb things. You have a better memory and you learn things better. So you have a profound state of relaxation. You have a focused state where your mind is single-mindedly focused on what's happening. And the third thing is concentration, because it's a relaxed, focused state of concentration. You are concentrating on the specific thing that's going to happen. This could be a suggestion. It could be a visual image from, let's say, a future event that's going to happen. If you wanted to feel more confident, you might be concentrating on what it feels like, looks like, sounds like for you to be more confident. You might be concentrating on learning something specific and something new. For instance, if you were going to improve your sports ability, you would be concentrating in a very distinct way on how to improve your golf swing, something like that. So that's what hypnosis is, relaxed, focused state of concentration. Okay, in hypnosis, we often refer to the unconscious mind or the subconscious mind, and basically that is a metaphor as an example of what we think the mind is. There is really not such a thing as a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. That's just kind of a model we use for our conscious thought activity, and all of the energy or the maybe brain waves that we use to think consciously about what's happening right now. Because consciously, as you're watching this video, you may be aware of what's happening around you in the room, you're aware of my voice, you're aware of the colors in the video, that kind of thing. But what you weren't aware of, that your unconscious or subconscious mind is picking up, are things that are happening around you. On some level, you are aware of what it feels like to sit in the chair that you're sitting on, what your feet feel like as they're touching the floor, what it feels like if your head is against a pillow or where your arms are. But you weren't thinking about those things consciously, but you were aware of them unconsciously. There may be sounds in the background that you don't really notice on a conscious level, but they were going on, they were taking place, kind of like if you have kids and you're able to totally tune them out. Your unconscious mind is still aware of what's happening, but consciously you're not focusing on them. So we'll learn the difference between the conscious and subconscious mind. The other thing that you're going to learn about is brainwave states and what it takes to achieve a state of hypnosis. So, very much debate about what a state of hypnosis is. When you're awake, you are in a beta brainwave. In a beta brainwave, you're completely alert, just like you are now, unless you've already fallen asleep. When you're in a beta brainwave, you are fully alert and fully aware of what's happening, as I hope you are right now. As you are going to sleep, when you're first getting in that state of sleep, you're going into an alpha state. And the alpha state is kind of where you're daydreaming, or where you are when you're watching a really good movie, or sometimes driving down the highway. Highway hypnosis puts you in an alpha state. You're not quite asleep, but you're not fully alert and awake either. So every night before you go to sleep, you pass through from a waking state of beta to an alpha brainwave, and then going into a delta and a theta brainwave, which is into deeper states of sleep. Hypnosis is that space of alpha brainwave. Now, people who say, well, I don't know about hypnosis, I'm scared of it because I wouldn't want to lose control and I don't think that it's right to be in hypnosis. And some people have religious training that says you should never allow yourself to be hypnotized because the evil spirits will come and get you. Well, then you tell them that you're in hypnosis twice a day for sure. Every time you wake up, you're coming out of your delta, theta, and up into your alpha and your beta brainwaves. So you're right there in hypnosis, and every night when you go to sleep. So everyone experiences it all the time. Everyone can be hypnotized, even you. And if you pay attention, you're going to find out in a little while what it's like to be hypnotized. There are many times when you are actually in hypnosis that you're not aware of it. I mentioned when you're watching a movie, you're engrossed in the movie. They've filled your senses, and your senses are so much more aware when you're in hypnosis that they've filled them up with visuals, with auditories, with creating sensations in your body, and that's a state of hypnosis. when you are in church. This is actually a state of hypnosis. There are things that are actually very present that are part of the hypnotic process that happen while you're in church and you're in a certain state of trance. And for instance, on TV and commercials, they pay millions and millions of dollars to discover the technology that puts your mind into a state of trance while you're watching commercials, and they're very engineered to get your mind quickly into a state of trance and then take you back out of it. In politics, hypnosis is huge in politics. Language patterns, the way that certain images are presented, the triggers that are created. If you understood and knew how much hypnosis is actually used in politics, you'd be amazed. Former president, whose name is, first name is Bill, you may remember him. He had some techniques that he used, and he was very highly trained to do this when his approval ratings were very low. Can't imagine why that happened, but anyway, he had some specific things he was doing during certain speeches to set triggers, to create language patterns, and have even embedded commands that actually brought you closer to him and made you like him more and had you come closer and be kind of drawn into something about him and what it was that you liked about him. And you might not have understood why his approval ratings went up, but those of us who are hypnotists and the NLP practitioners just saw it so clearly. It's really easy to pick out once you know what you're doing. I have often been asked, as most hypnotists have, can you make someone do something that would be against their morals and their values? Can I make someone go rob a bank and give me all the money? Can I make you take your clothes off and dance naked on the table? You know, the answer is no. I can't make you do something that's against your morals and values. And that is very common in hypnosis, that people feel like they're going to lose control, that they're not going to remember what's happening. I cannot make you violate your morals or your values. If you want to dance naked on the table, yeah, I could probably make you do it then. You know, if you really had a desire to go get all your money from your bank account and give it to me, I could probably then craft a way to get you to want to do that for me. But if it's against your morals and your values, you're not going to wake up in the middle of the bank later naked. It's just not going to happen. So one of the first things I'd like is any of those who have no morals and values, please raise your hand. Call 877-68-HAPPY right now. So now you've got the basics of hypnosis. You know what it is. Let's find out how to do it. Ready? On this video, there's many things you're going to learn about hypnosis. One of the main things you're going to learn is, of course, the rules of the mind. These laws of the mind apply to how the mind works, and knowing these will help you be a better hypnotist. The next thing you're going to learn is suggestibility tests. There's one that we're going to do that is to see if the eyes will stick closed or the fingers will stick together, if the arms will respond to being light or heavy, and we'll teach you these suggestibility tests. The other thing is inductions. There's many types of inductions. You're going to learn a famous induction called the Dave Elman induction, which is very quick. It takes about 3 or 4 minutes. You'll learn a progressive relaxation induction. You'll learn a very standard counting 10 down to 1 induction. You'll learn the rapid inductions, and you'll learn how it is that once someone is in a state of hypnosis, to deepen them and keep them there. Another thing we're going to learn is about suggestions. The way that you phrase suggestions is very important because the words that you use are going to create the effect on your client or your subject, and if you phrase them wrong, they can actually have a reversed effect. The other thing is your voice. There are so many ways to use your voice to create a wonderful scenario and to put your client or subject into trance, or your voice can totally blow it. So we're going to learn how to do voice. And a really interesting thing we're going to learn is about sleep hypnosis. Sleep hypnosis is actually giving someone suggestions while they are asleep and getting them to respond unconsciously to you and to make sure that their mind is listening to the suggestions and hearing it. Also, post-hypnotic suggestions. Post-hypnotic suggestions are things they're going to do afterwards. And so if I were to suggest that every time you see the color red, you are going to think of how good it is to eat healthy, nutritious foods or something to that effect. That is a post-hypnotic suggestion. Another post-hypnotic suggestion might be that the next time I say the words blue lagoon, easy for you to say.
Blue lagoon. Blue lagoon.
Blue lagoon, that you'll go right back into a deep state of hypnosis. We're going to learn about dream programming. Dream programming is very fun at night. When you go to sleep, your subconscious mind is not sleeping. It is aware of what's happening, but also through dreams, it's programming things, perhaps resolving conflicts, finding solutions to problems, or even having intuitions about things that you couldn't possibly know on a conscious level that you weren't aware of in your conscious mind. And then also we're going to learn about the uses of hypnosis. I'm going to give you some real simple tips to use hypnosis for improving your sports performance, to relieving and releasing pain, having better sex, yes, and losing weight, being thinner so that you can find someone to have better sex with, and to stop smoking, and also hypnosis and what you can do with your kids to help them to either achieve more, be happier, stop wetting the bed, and go to sleep at night. So get ready, put on your thinking caps. Here we go.
Check, we're all ready. Yes, you bet. We're all ready.
Suggestibility tests. One of the things that is a classic suggestibility test, and personally I don't know if it's actually true, a lot of people dispute it, but this is kind of from the founders of the hypnosis beliefs, is that there's an eye roll test that you can do to find out how hypnotizable someone is. So what I want you to do, Janelle, is just to close your eyes very gently, and I want you to let your eyeballs roll up inside of your forehead as if you're kind of looking right up here at the top of your forehead. Okay? Now what I want you to do is try to open your eyelids just as much as you can so that I can see how much your eyes roll up inside of your forehead. And right now she's having a little trouble opening her eyelids. Okay? So now I want you to relax your eyes and bring them right down to the front. And now I want you to open your eyes. Okay? And just look straight at me. And now I want you to look up with your eyelids open this time. Just look up. Look up as high as you can. Now, the belief is that the more whites of their eyes that are at the bottom showing means they're more hypnotizable. So, okay, very good. You did excellent. So that's one of the suggestibility tests to decide if someone is hypnotizable, and there is a lot of dispute as to whether it's accurate or not. There's a lot of people who think it's just hooey. Another suggestibility test to find out if someone is resistant or if they're going to cooperate with your suggestions is to do a finger sticking together test, and that's what we're going to do with you. Hold your hands out. I want you to put your fingers apart. You're going to look at the space right between your fingers. You're going to just kind of stare at that space right there. So you might need to tilt your hands up, or maybe you can see it just like it is. Now, the wording is very important in this test. So as you hear my words, just notice the way that I use them in order to get her mind to kind of respond and cooperate. Hopefully her mind will respond and cooperate. As you look at that space between your fingers, just notice that your entire body is relaxing and all of your concentration is right there on that space right between your fingers. And what I want you to notice is that in a moment, your fingers are going to seem to have a mind of their own, almost like they're two magnets wanting to pull together. And it will seem like the harder you try to keep them apart, the more they will begin pulling together. When I count from 10 down to 1, that force will increase and get stronger and stronger and stronger. So right now, just keep staring at that space and notice the way your fingers feel. They may have already started to pull together. 10, with each number they're getting tighter. 9, those magnets pulling tighter and tighter together. 8, 7, pulling even tighter together. 6, pulling tighter together. 5, and in a moment when they come together and touch, you'll notice that they are almost like they're welded tight together. 6, 5, pulling together even more. The more you try to resist, the more they pull together. 4, closer and closer now, so close. 3, coming together even closer. 2, even more, pulling and pulling, that magnet pulling them together. 2, and in a moment they'll touch. The moment they touch, they will be stuck tight together. And 1, closer, closer still. Now, stuck tight together, and it doesn't matter what you do, it'll just seem that they're stuck together. The more that you try to pull them apart, the more they're stuck. But the magic is that you can release them so easily. All you have to do is blow on them, and they'll release. And they come apart easily. And our fingers come apart. Good, relax your hands. So that's another suggestibility test that you can do to see if someone's mind is going to respond. And sometimes there are people whose fingers will just come apart really easily, and some of them you can obviously see that they start coming together before you even start counting from 10 down to 1. The purpose of counting from 10 down to 1 is to give their mind a goal, that they know that on the number 1, as I kept saying, when your fingers stick together, that on the number 1 something is going to happen and their mind is anticipating it. So, very good. A variation on the fingers sticking together suggestibility test is this. Janelle, I want you to put your fingers interlaced like this, and then put them out and put the 2 fingers out in front of you. Now what you're going to feel right now, and this is kind of a little tricky little hypnosis finger stick together thing, is that it's hard to keep them apart, huh? When your fingers are inside of each other like that, it's really hard to keep them apart. And so when you start suggesting that they're going to go together, it will make them go together. The reason you'd want to do that is if you have a real resistant client and you want them to get convinced that they're open to suggestion. Okay, another suggestibility test. This one's really fun. You ready? Close your eyes. Put both of your arms out in front of you. Okay, and I want you to take, let's see, the left arm and turn it up. There's a reason I use the left arm to turn it up, because it is a weaker arm and it makes the effect even better. In your left arm, I want you to imagine that I'm putting a big, heavy book, a dictionary. It's really, really thick. It's one of those new ones that has like all the words. It's so heavy. In your left arm, you can feel the weight of it. It's so, so heavy. And it's hard to hold up that heavy dictionary. Now, just hold on to it though. Right in your right arm here, I want you to feel the balloons that are being tied to your right arm. And those balloons that make your right arm feel so nice and light. So light. In fact, we're going to put another bunch of big, beautiful helium balloons, and you can feel how light it is. It just makes your arm feel so good and light. And I'm going to put another book on your other arm. There's another book on that arm. Another one. This one's really heavy. This one's bigger than the dictionary. This one is like the mega huge dictionary. It's gigantic. And one more book. This is your history book from high school. There you go, right on that arm. Heavier and heavier still. Another book, even heavier. And now the balloons. Another bunch of beautiful balloons. They're so pretty. And this arm feeling so good and so light. Those balloons lifting it up. And one more book on this arm. One more. You can do it. You try to hold them, but they're getting so heavy, so heavy. Now, leave your arms right where they are, and I want you to open your eyes. Good. What happened? What did you feel?
Well, it did feel like this one was getting heavier and this one wanted to lift.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a very good suggestibility test to help an entire group of people learn what it's like to have their mind create that sensation in both of their arms. When I'm touching this arm, I'm very, very lightly touching. I'm not pulling it up, just touching it barely. And then on this one, just to put that feeling of, I'm not pushing down, but just put that feeling of that there's a book on there. Good, thank you. Okay, this next suggestibility test is often used at the beginning of induction. What I want you to do is just pick a spot to look at on the wall or the ceiling for a moment. Just let yourself kind of stare at a spot for a moment. And then I want you to notice the way your eyes feel, and I want you to allow your eyelids to just get heavy. The more you think about them getting heavier, the heavier they begin to feel. It's very simple, really, because the more you think about that heaviness, the more they get heavier and heavier. And once your eyes close, imagine right now that your eyes actually kind of melt down into your cheeks, that they feel so relaxed and so heavy that they almost feel like they would be too heavy to open. And then I want you to put your focus right here on the place that I'm going to touch on your forehead, right there. Put your eyes up inside of that area of your forehead and just notice right up there, whatever's there, if there's a color, if it's just dark and soft, or maybe even a word that says relax right up there inside of your forehead. Now I want you to relax your eyes even deeper when I count to 3. You're going to double the heaviness in your eyes. 1, 2, 3. Good, even heavier now. One more time when I count to 3, let your eyelids become even heavier. This time relax them so deeply that they'll be too heavy to open. 1, 2, 3. Good, so deeply. Now you can test them just to make sure you've relaxed them that much that they won't open. You can test them and notice that you relax them that much. When I count to 3 now, they will open easily. 1, 2, 3. Good, open your eyes. And what did it feel like when your eyes were closed?
Heavy.
Yeah? Why couldn't they open? What did it feel like? Why you
I
couldn't
just
open?
felt like my eyelids are sort of weighted down on my cheeks.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a real simple suggestibility test, just to tell you if your subject or your client is going to be open to suggestion. Now, a little hypnotist secret that I'm going to tell you. Close your eyes right now and keep your eyeballs pointing straight ahead, and then just open your eyelids. Good, and close them. Now I want you to look with your eyeballs right up here, up as high as you can inside of your forehead, and try to open your eyelids. Yeah, what happened? You can't. There's something that immobilizes your muscles a little bit. So there's a little bit of, you know, that even if they were looking forward, their eyes would probably still stick shut, but if you have a client or a subject who you feel is a little resistant and they need convincing, then you could say, put your eyes up here, and then their eyelids won't open. And the reason I tell you this is because some people, well, most people actually feel they can't be hypnotized. You want to help convince them that they can be hypnotized so that they won't have to worry about it, because there's a lot of worry about whether or not I'm going to be a good hypnotic subject. Thank you, Janelle. Good job. Hope your eyes return to normal very soon. Good. Thank you. relaxation. It's very, very standard. The purpose of it is to relax the body so much that the mind becomes open. So I want you to participate in this one, so you get to do this. And one of the things that means is that you're going to have to close your eyes during this portion. So when I ask you to close your eyes, go ahead and do that so you can really feel the effect of the progressive relaxation. So now I want you just to look right into my eyes, look into the TV set and look into my eyes right now for a moment and focus just on my eyes. And in a moment you'll notice your breathing, gentle and easy. You'll notice the way your body feels wherever you're sitting or laying down. And then I want you to let your eyelids close. Take a nice deep breath. And when you breathe out, let your eyes close. Good. And the next thing I want you to do is focus on the top of your head. Right at the top of your head, imagine a warm and soothing light. And this warm, soothing light has a warmth, perhaps even a tingle. And you feel that soft, gentle tingle on the top of your head. In a moment, this soothing, warm light is going to begin to work its way down inside of your head. It's going to go inside of every place in your body, removing any stress or tightness or tension. It's just going to flow through your body, melting away any tense, tired shoulder muscles, arm muscles, leg muscles. And your entire body will become loose, limp, and relaxed. So let that light begin to move in right now. Feel it moving down inside of your head. Good, so soft and gentle. And just notice if there's a color to that light. And if there's a color, let that color swirl inside of your head, moving down into your neck, melting those muscles in your neck. Feel them releasing, softening, letting go. And let that light move into your shoulders now and into your arms, all the way down through your arms, into the very tips of your fingers. Feel the warmth of that soothing light filling your arms so much, melting, softening, making them heavier and heavier. Your arms so heavy now, they feel too heavy to lift. Now let that light begin to move down through your neck, down through your spine, almost as if you can feel that light soothing, illuminating every vertebrae, every muscle, every tendon, every nerve, relaxing and melting right down into the chair or the couch that you're on, melting deeper and deeper, relaxed. Let that light move all the way into your hips now, down through your hips. You feel your lower back releasing, letting go of tension and tightness, feeling so good, just melting down, that light swirling, softly moving, all the way down through your hips, now into your legs. Notice the way your legs feel, and your legs become heavier, heavier still as that light moves down into your thighs, relaxing those muscles in your thighs, releasing the tension, so soft and so heavy, all the way down into your knees, your calves, all the way into your ankles, now into your feet, and to the very tips of your toes, so that your entire body now is filled with this beautiful, soothing, warm light, like the best feeling you've ever had, soothing, soft, and warm. Now when I count to 3, I want you to let your body relax twice as deeply, so that every muscle in your body, in any place at all where there is stress or tension, is going to instantly melt, and you're going to sink down even further. 1, 2, 3. Good, sinking down even further now, heavier and heavier still. Good, now in a moment, I want you to bring your energy back to the room, back to my voice, and back to the TV. So when I count from 1 to 5, let all of the energy come right back into your body. And when I get to 5, you'll feel very clear-headed and wide awake and refreshed. 1, 2, 3, bringing all the energy back up. 4, take a nice deep breath, let your eyes open. And 5, wide awake, clear-headed, and refreshed. And that is a very short version of a progressive relaxation induction. You can make it last a lot longer. And if someone has some aches or pains or tension somewhere in their body, you can focus on that part of their body and really work on releasing that tension. So you can work with your progressive relaxation to put your own personal style into it. I just give you a real basic way of bringing that light so it's something that they feel, something that they see, perhaps something even that they hear in the vibration and the sound of that light, and then the feeling of them moving down into the couch or the chair or wherever they're sitting or laying. This induction is very famous. It's called the Dave Elman induction. It is said to induce somnambulism, which if you don't know what that word is, you're going to learn what that word is. Induce somnambulism in about 3 minutes, possibly less. Some people feel that this is one of the inductions that almost guarantees that you will get a state of somnambulism. Somnambulism is a deep state of trance. We'll learn more about that in a moment. Okay, so what I would like you to do, my trusty volunteer, I want you to pick a spot to look at, any spot you want, just a spot on the wall. And just focus all of your attention for now right on that spot. Make sure your legs are comfortable and make sure your hands and your arms are comfortable. And notice that as you look at that spot, your eyes may begin to get a little bit tired of looking at that spot and they may get a little bit heavy. There will be a moment when you realize your eyes are just too heavy, too tired to keep open. You'll feel that sensation increasing the more that you listen to my voice, and your entire body will begin to relax. And as your eyes become heavier and heavier, you'll notice that it's hard to resist that feeling of allowing your eyes to close. Harder to resist, and they get heavier, droopy, drowsy, heavy. And there's a moment where you'll realize they're just too heavy to open. Too heavy to keep open. At that very moment when they close, you'll feel a wonderful wave of heaviness move down through your cheeks, down through your jaw, down through your neck and your shoulders, moving all the way down through your body like a nice warm wave. Now when I count to 3, let your eyes relax twice as deeply, twice as heavy. 1, 2, 3. Let your eyes get twice as heavy. Good. Now I want you to do something to your eyes to allow them to relax so deeply that they actually are too heavy to open. So when I count to 3, relax them that heavy so that they're just too heavy to open. 1, 2, 3. Too heavy to open. Now I'd like you to test those eyes just to prove to yourself that you've relaxed them that deeply. Go ahead and test them and notice that they are too heavy to open. Good. And stop testing and let yourself go even deeper, even heavier. Let your eyes get heavier now. Even deeper. Now, on the count of 3, your eyes will open easily and you will see my hand in front of your face. Let your eyes follow my hand. 1, 2, 3. They open easily. And just follow my hand. Good. And as it comes down, your eyes are heavier, heavier still, even deeper, heavier still. Let your eyes close. And even deeper relaxed. Good. Let those eyes relax even deeper. Even deeper. Now, so heavy, so relaxed. Too heavy to open. And again, when I count to 3, this time your eyes will open easily again. When they open, you'll see my hand. You'll follow my hand. And this time when your eyes close, you'll go into an even deeper state of trance. 1, 2, 3. Follow my hand. Good. And deeper still, let your eyes close. Deeper still. Even deeper. Good. Now I want you to focus on your arm. Let your arms become heavy, loose, and limp. So heavy that your arms feel as if they are too heavy to lift or move. In a moment, I'm going to move your arms. And when I lift your arms, I want you to let them feel so heavy, like a loose, limp, warm, wet washcloth. Just so heavy that you couldn't possibly lift your arms yourself. Let all the weight of your arms go into my hands. Good, good, nice and loose and relaxed. When I drop your hand back into your lap, just let it fall. The moment it hits your lap, you go twice as deep into trance, even deeper. Good, deeper relaxed. Very good. Now this arm, even heavier. When I lift this arm, let it be so heavy and so relaxed that it feels too heavy to lift. And when I lift it, good, so heavy, loose, limp, and relaxed. And then when I drop this hand, go even deeper into trance. Now, even deeper. Good, now you know your body is relaxing so deeply, and you may want to relax your mind just that deeply. Your mind may become too tired to even think. You can focus on the sound of my voice. I'm going to ask you to count backwards out loud from the number 100, and something that you'll notice is every time that you think of that number, you're going to find that that number gets harder and harder to think of, and when you count down to the next number, that it will get harder and harder to think of. Now your mind may make it completely disappear, or it might melt it away, or make it just be gone or inaccessible. You'll know the way that your mind makes that number disappear. So now I want you to say out loud that first number. Just say 100 out loud.
100.
Good. And when you say the next number, you'll notice that it gets a little bit harder, a little bit more distant, a little more difficult to think about. And when you get down to the number 94, 93, you'll find that they may be gone entirely. Now what's the next number?
99.
Good. Now let that one go. Just let it go. Let it float away. Good. Harder to find that next number. There it is. What is it?
98.
Good. Now let that one go. Let it just float away. The number's getting harder. When you get down to 94 or 93, you'll find they're completely gone. And the next number?
97.
Good. Let that one go. And let those numbers completely fade out of your mind. Notice the way that your mind makes them disappear. The next number. Deeper relax, the next number.
96.
Good. Now, feel those numbers melting away, more and more difficult. Almost gone entirely, the next number. Too hard to think of. Just let it go. Now go deeper asleep, deeper asleep. Good. Let your entire body relax even deeper. And I'm just going to let him relax for a moment. And what I want you to notice is there's a moment at which there's a hesitation in trying to think of the number. At that point, when you feel that hesitation, go ahead and just touch them on the shoulder and say, good, now just relax, let those numbers go, and sleep even deeper. And this is considered a state of somnambulism, once the mind has gotten too tired to put any effort into thinking. When I touched his arms, just as I am now, and I lifted them, they were heavy and loose and limp. If you feel that the subject is helping you to raise their arms, or if it feels stiff at all, or if when you drop it, it doesn't plop down, like sometimes if you drop someone's arm and it actually stays in the air, you'll know that your subject is not getting into a good state of somnambulism. So now I'm just going to bring him back up and we'll ask him a couple questions. On the count of 5, I want you to bring all your awareness and energy back to your body. When I get to the number 5, feel wide awake and refreshed. Let all of the energy come back, feeling completely good in every way. 1, 2, bring all the energy up into your legs and arms. 3, your body feeling balanced and at peace. And 4, your eyes will feel cool and refreshed. And 5, wide awake, clear-headed and refreshed. Take a nice deep breath, and when you're ready, open your eyes. We never know when that will be, of course. There, it's ready. So how did that feel when you were counting the numbers down? What happened to you?
It's like I was becoming less attached to kind of grasping them. They just kind of faded out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Well, when they faded out, what happened if you tried to remember them, or you just didn't have the energy to, or what was it like?
Yeah, it was like a real relaxed state. It was like I didn't really care to go there, to follow the numbers. It just more to go deeper into relaxation.
Great, great. Okay, to kind of summarize the things that I did, first we suggested that his eyes would become very heavy when you have someone fixate or focus on one point. The eyelids can become heavy very quickly. If it takes time, you just keep going and keep suggesting that when your eyes are ready, they will close. So his eyes closed, and we deepened that by having him open and close his eyes. Every time I did this, when you open and you close your eyes, it seems to put you into a deeper trance. Did you notice that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting effect. Also, it gives a little bit of the power of suggestion to the hypnotist, because I'm saying each time that you'll be able to open your eyes, you'll see my hand, you'll follow it, and they're following your instructions. Then the next thing that we did was the arms. I like to touch the arms to make them even heavier, because the touch is just creates a huge response when you're in hypnosis. And touching the arms, suggesting that they're very heavy, too heavy to lift, describing it as a warm, wet washcloth, something like that. And then being able to lift them, and I support them under here and lift them here, and to let them be loose, limp, and relaxed, and to let them drop, suggesting that when they drop, they'll go twice as deeply into trance or relax twice as deeply. Doing that with both arms, and then telling them that their mind will relax as deeply as their body. And one of the keys in that is saying that when you get to the number 94 and 93, you'll find that they're just gone entirely. And so you are setting it up so you don't have to count all the way down to like 14 or 10 or something. Go. Okay, it's now tomorrow.
It'd be a very long session.
It would. So yeah, the mind is set up and it suggests that. Thank you very much. Good job. This next induction is very standard. It's a 10 down to 1, and it's to relax your subject or your client by simply counting from 10 down to 1. Now there's several ways to accomplish it. One of the ways is to have them going down steps, 10 steps down to the very bottom step, and that's a very classic hypnotic induction. Or you could put your client or subject in an elevator and have them go down through 10 levels of floors. The danger with that is that some people have an elevator phobia, so if you haven't asked them, you may not want to do that until you find out if they're cool with elevators. But I personally really like the elevator thing because I can feel myself sinking down. It feels so good. So I'm going to do a 10 down to 1 induction with you. I want you to participate. And when I get to the number 1, I'm going to do a little bit more, something that you can kind of add on to the end, because after the number 1, there's a lot that you can do. So what I would like you to do now is just to close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. Good, and let your eyes close. So if your eyes closed, you're not looking at me right now. If you're still looking at me, close your eyes. Okay, now, relax relax your body for a moment. Take a nice deep breath, and as you exhale, let your body relax. And just kind of feel the tension leaving. Good. Let that breath flow out of you, releasing any tension, any tightness. And with each number as I count, I want you to feel your body relaxing deeper. That parts of your body are going to get heavy and loose and limp. You actually might want to imagine yourself at the top of a beautiful staircase. That you can feel the steps underneath your feet, the railing, you notice the colors, a beautiful staircase. Or you may want to imagine yourself just right there laying down perfectly still and calm. With each number as I count downward, you let yourself relax deeper. So right now with that first number, 10, feel your body relaxing, letting go. So good to just let go. Now with the next number, relax twice as deeply, 9. Let your body become heavy, loose and limp and relaxed. Good. 8, feel yourself just melting right down. It feels so good to let go. And you know that you can relax so much deeper. It's almost like you can observe the way that your body relaxes. 7, deeper relaxed. You can be an observer of your mind, of the way that your mind lets go, of the levels of your awareness. Deeper relaxed. 6. And with each number, you feel yourself sinking, floating down to that place in your mind where your ideas are forming, where your perceptions are created. 5, deeper relaxed, good. Down to that place where your values rest, where your values shape your perceptions. Now, another number, 4, deeper relaxed, good. Feel your body melting, it's so heavy, so loose, so light. And relax once again, even deeper with the next number, 3, good. And just notice that you can even float down to that level of your awareness or that state of mind where your beliefs rest, where your deepest core beliefs rest that shape your perceptions and your values, the way you think and you feel. 2, good, deeper relax. Now in the next number, I want you to let yourself go all the way down inside of yourself, wherever that is, to that deepest place of relaxation. On that next number, get ready. 1, good, deeper relax. Now really let go. Now notice just up ahead, out through all that velvety darkness, out in the colors of the twinkles, there's a doorway there. Now you might see it, or you might just imagine it to be there, or it may be a doorway that you just know is there. Go all the way right up to that doorway, and when you get just in front of that doorway, notice if it has a color, or if it has a feeling. Or if that doorway is something that you just know that it has some great power. You're curious and you wonder about what might be on the other side of that doorway. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to open that door and step through it. When you do, you'll be opening your subconscious mind to suggestions, to allowing yourself to make changes. Changes in the way you feel, in the way you think, in the way you behave. And you will be opening your doorway to new possibilities. So get ready, get right in front of that door. On the count of 3, step right through that door and just feel how good it is to be open to something new. 1, 2, 3. Good. Step right through that door and feel how good it is on that path, in that room, in that place of possibilities. Anything that you want to create, you can create. Inside of this doorway, inside of this room, you can make whatever happen that you would like to make happen. So now, just take a nice deep breath and just notice the freedom that you have, the possibilities, the potential of anything that you would like to create, anything you would like to experience. Look all around that room. Notice the doorway that you came in through. And notice the color of the door on this side of it. Now your mind is open to suggestions, ready and prepared to make these changes. And any words that I say, any suggestions that I make, have a lasting and profound effect on the way you think and feel and behave. Now, I want you just to come right back through that doorway. Come right back through, close the door, and come back to the awareness of your body, of my voice, of the room, of your surroundings. And come all the way back right to your body here. And in a moment I'm going to count from 1 to 5. And as I do, you'll feel the energy returning to your body. When I get to 5, you'll feel very wide awake, very refreshed, very clear-headed. 1, 2, bring the energy up into your legs and arms. 3, bring it all the way up into your body. Good. Feel that energy coming back, completely balanced and at peace. And 4, your eyes will feel cool and refreshed. And 5, wide awake, clear-headed and refreshed. Take a nice deep breath and open your eyes when you're ready. Good. Now that induction, being very short and very basic, if you listen to the wording as you play it over and over again, you'll notice that it creates possibilities, it creates curiosity. And when they get into that room is when you can use suggestions to create whatever you want, post-hypnotic suggestions, or suggestions to feel better, to release pain, to change certain, personality traits, or whatever it is you want to create. So that's what you do while you're in that room, or once you've passed through the door. So that is the induction. That is the very simple 10 down to 1 induction. This next induction is the eye fixation induction, and it's really simple, and it's basically what it says. It's eye fixation. So one of the things that you could suggest to your subject is for them to look at a spot on the wall. And I use this one very, very often. I say, pick a spot on the wall or the ceiling and just let your eyes focus on that spot right now. And as you stare on that spot, you're going to notice that your body begins to relax, your mind begins to relax. And the more that you stare at that spot, you notice the details, the texture, the light, the shadows. And anyway, I get into quite a bit of detail about what that spot looks like. And there is something that happens when you fixate on one spot. You could ask your subject to look into your eyes. That would be an eye fixation, saying, when you look into my eyes, you'll notice you begin to get very sleepy, and you look directly into my eyes, or the spot on my forehead. Or we could even ask the subject to watch the watch. Imagine that, watch a watch. Standard hypnotist equipment. Not really. Look at the watch. Just keep your eyes focused on the watch. As you see the watch moving back and forth, your mind becomes very, very sleepy. Your entire body relaxes, and you let your mind go into a deep state of trance. So that would be another eye fixation, or perhaps a crystal. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just that you are doing that eye fixation so that your mind is totally absorbed in looking at that one specific detail. So I want you just to focus all of your attention and all of your awareness on this candle flame. And you're going to let yourself feel what it's like to have that eye fixation, to let your mind be really absorbed in that one tiny little flame. So now, just notice the feeling in your body as you stare at that flame. If your neck or your shoulders are tight or tense, just let that tension melt out and just focus on that flame of the candle and notice that flame. As your eyes focus on it, you see it in greater detail. You notice the little flickers of the flame. You notice that your body is beginning to relax deeper and deeper. The more you stare at that candle flame, the more relaxed your body becomes. You'll notice that everything else in the room seems to just disappear, fade away into the distance. As you focus on that flame, your body relaxes so deeply, so deeply. And in a moment you'll notice that you are so focused on that candle flame that every muscle in your body goes loose and limp and relaxed. And when I say the word sleep, that your eyes become heavy and close instantly, and everything in your body relaxes into a deep, peaceful state of trance, focusing on that candle flame, noticing the brightness, feeling yourself drawn into that glow of the candle flame, and on the count of 3, into a deep state of trance. 1, 2, 3, deep asleep. Let your mind sink and float down. Go deep inside of yourself, almost as if you can see that candle flame inside of yourself now, behind your eyelids. Perhaps you notice the flame of that candle flickering in there. And you let your body relax deeper and deeper still. Every sound around you will relax you deeper. As your eyes are closed, you notice that you can still focus on the flame of that candle, on that one spot of light, letting yourself go deeper and deeper, more peacefully. Now I want you to bring your awareness back to your body, back to the room. I'm going to count from 1 to 5, and as I do, I want you to let all of your awareness and all of your energy come back into your body. When I get to the number 5, you'll feel very wide awake and very refreshed. 1, 2, bring the energy all the way up into your body. 3, feeling balanced and peaceful. 4, your eyes will feel cool and relaxed. And 5, wide awake, clear-headed and refreshed. Good. And so what you probably noticed was just the very moment that you closed your eyes, that you still kind of saw the candle because your eyes were fixated on it, and you saw that flame kind of behind your eyelids. And so that even brings you more deeply into trance when you close your eyes and you still have that flame to fixate on. So that is the eye fixation induction. from your mind. And there's a really nice way to create inductions from using your own imagination and kind of making them up as you go along. Of course, once you learn the language patterns of hypnosis and you understand how the mind works, you can create inductions that are very, very full and very rich. So right now, if I were to create an induction in my mind, and some of the things that you see around me right now and the sounds that you hear, I would actually create those in my mind in order to make an induction, and I would be describing the things that I see or hear or feel or smell. So if I was sitting in my office or sitting in someone's house with them to do an induction, I would talk about walking on a beautiful path through the forest. And as you walk on this path, you notice the sound of your footsteps on the path, the feel of the ground beneath you. If it's a path that's in the forest, you feel the bed of pine needles and the leaves. And you notice that fresh smell in the air. There's that smell that just says everything is clean and fresh, and you love that smell of nature. As you walk a little further, you notice that you're getting more and more relaxed because the sounds around you relax you so deeply. You can even hear in the distance a little waterfall that's coming down through a stream that trickles and winds its way through the little turns and the little valleys of the creek. And one of the things you notice as you walk a little bit further and you relax even deeper now are the colors. The beautiful colors, the deep, dark greens of the pine trees, the beautiful, delicate, bright greens of the moss on the trees. You even notice the rocks, some big ones and some little ones, and you can feel yourself relaxing deeper with every step that you take. Somehow, in this magical place, all of your senses are more alive, more aware. You can smell the wonderful freshness of nature. You can feel the energy of the earth and of the very living forest. You can feel the perfect temperature of the air on your skin. Everything here is absolutely perfect. And in this place of absolute perfection, you are so relaxed that your mind is clear and you are open and receptive to creating something new, to creating what it is that you want. Okay, so now you got the effect of creating an induction in my mind, and what I was doing was taking into account all of the things, the creek, the colors that I know are there, of the moss on the trees, the feel of my feet if I were walking on that path, incorporating them all into an induction. So basically I'm describing whatever it is I'm sensing in my mind. Now, creating an induction like this, you want to make sure, for one thing, that you don't fall off the bridge while you're talking. Long ways down there. But you want to make sure that you include all the senses. So you'll notice in this induction I included a little bit of visual. If you put too much visual into it, people feel disappointed if they don't actually see it. So you want to use the word imagine. Imagine how beautiful the dark green on the trees is, but I didn't say see the tree. And this is a real important point because a lot of people do feel disappointed when they can't visualize it and they can't actually see it. So the first thing I said was feel the footsteps on the path. Notice the sound of your footsteps on that path and feel the bed of pine needles underneath your feet. That creates a sensation, so there's no pressure to visualize. I talked about the smell of the nice, clean air, the smell of the forest, and the sounds around you, and all those sounds that relax you deeper. What else? Oh, the temperature of the air, that you can feel that absolutely perfect temperature of the air and that kind of thing. So you're describing things for them to experience, but you're not forcing them to see. And one of the biggest mistakes that hypnotists can make is by being so stuck on visualizing and see this and see that, and then the person gets very disappointed that they're not seeing these actual things. So next I'm going to help you create a metaphor out of this beautiful place in nature. You can create a metaphor when you're doing hypnosis to help someone heal or change or get over a problem that they have. So you want to choose a metaphor that's important to them, that has some feeling or some connection for them. And in this case, if they love the forest, then you might want to create a metaphor by creating kind of a forest in your mind and talk about the strength of a tree, how it's firmly rooted, firmly planted, that the winds or the storms have no effect on it and they just nourish the tree and help it grow even stronger, or something like that if a person's feeling, kind of weak and helpless. You may want to create a metaphor about renewal, that all of the things, the old ideas, just like the old leaves, fall to the surface of the forest and they are then renewed and they're part of the soil and they become the food and the nutrients for the new plants. And every spring all the seeds spring up and they reach for the sun, that kind of thing. Well, one of the metaphors I kind of like is about a stream. And in creating the metaphor about the stream, of knowing what's important to my client may be that he's inflexible, let's say, that he doesn't bend real easily, or he always needs to be in control. So creating a metaphor about a stream might go like this. There is such an easiness about a stream, about the tiny little drops of water that collect all together and begin finding their way down through the turns and the twists, finding their way through the earth so gently and easily, never pushing, never resisting, just following the turns and the twists in the earth. And the sounds that they make along the way create such a peaceful sound, such a soothing and relaxing sound, that all of those droplets of water come together and create this wonderful creek. And that creek is perfectly content to make its way through the earth, around the trees, through the rocks, through the little pebbles and boulders, and anything that's in the way of that stream or that creek simply finds an easier path, easily bending, never resisting, always flowing smoothly and gently. And that stream collects more and more water, more and more wisdom, has a purpose. Even though it doesn't know where it's going or where it will end up, it is perfectly content to find that purpose, gathering together with other streams of water, becoming an even bigger body of water, becoming stronger, even more wise. And then that stream flows into a beautiful open pond that is so smooth and glassy. Just the smoothness makes the pond know it's totally at peace, totally gentle. The surface is like glass. So anyway, that kind of a metaphor would connect in a person's mind to let go of control, to not have to know what's happening all the time. And by the way, I just made that up as I went, if you could tell. There is a feeling that I put in my mind to make it up as I go of what the person has a problem with, what it is that they need, and what kind of a symbol or a metaphor would serve that purpose. So in this case, this particular one, it was probably a couple years ago when I did it the first time. It was about what kind of things don't have to have control, that don't have to know where they're going, that don't have to have all of the information, but yet you can become wiser and more peaceful at the same time. So that would be a metaphor of that. Another one that I like is about a seed being planted in the earth. If someone feels like they're just totally stuck and lifeless and hopeless or depressed, that sometimes, even though there is a long, dark winter, underneath all of that, there is still a seed, and that tiny seed has an intention. It has a purpose, and that seed knows, without having to be told, that it is going to be able to grow, to bloom, to reach for the sun, to gather all the nutrients around it that it needs, to find all the ingredients, the sun, the soil, the water, everything it needs, and to naturally and automatically incorporate all of that into its very essence, to be able to push through the dark, damp soil and reach out for that sun and let the life begin to be sucked in through its leaves, creating tiny little buds that grow new leaves. So anyway, that's another one. I was just making that up as I go, and the idea is that if someone is really depressed or really feeling hopeless or lifeless, a part of their mind is going to grab onto that little seedling metaphor, that it is dark and it is damp, and I've created a connection with how they feel, but also that there is an internal wisdom or a driving force that's going to make this happen regardless of them trying to figure it out or needing more information. So you can make a metaphor of just about anything that you want. Now that you've learned how to put someone in a state of hypnosis and do an induction, you got to know what to do with them. Something that was really fun for me when I first became a hypnotist was that I gave someone suggestions and they actually did what I said. It was quite amazing. I was working with a young boy, because if you work with kids it's really safe, you know, because they'll probably do what you say. And I told him his finger would be missing, like the number 3 finger would be missing when he opened his eyes and tried to count his finger. And it was quite exciting to find out that it worked. That there actually is a state of hypnosis that is different than visualization or guided imagery, and it has some kind of a mysterious effect to actually have this effect on us. And when it worked, I was like, wow, cool. So why is it that hypnosis is different? Well, we think of the subconscious mind. let's see, we'll go subconscious mind. As something that is inside of our mind or deeper in our mind, and we think of the conscious mind as something that surrounds the subconscious, okay? So this is an idea, it's a notion, a possibility of how our mind works. Our mind doesn't work like this. We do not have a subconscious mind that happens to be inside of the conscious mind. But it gives us kind of a visual idea of what it is we're wanting to achieve. If the subconscious is something deeper and it's something that holds our values or our beliefs, our ability to make these changes on some deeper inside level, that means we need to bypass the conscious mind, that we somehow need to get past this conscious or critical factor in order to make these suggestions happen. Because when you're in a waking state, suggestions don't have a profound effect. I mean, they can, but they rarely have a profound and lasting effect like they do in hypnosis. If right now I told you that if you count your fingers, the number 4 will be missing, it's not going to be missing. So you have to be able to create a state of trance that is going to be deep enough to bypass that conscious or critical factor and get into the subconscious mind, and that's where change takes place. There is a difference between relaxation and hypnosis. They're just not the same thing. When you get into a good state of hypnosis, you have bypassed the conscious or critical mind. It's kind of like that aspect of the mind is just too tired to resist or to filter anything out or stop the suggestions from happening. Okay, so we're going to learn how to give direct suggestions. When you give a suggestion, the most important thing is how you word it. So I can give you a suggestion right now to tell you to not imagine a pink elephant in the middle of your room right now, sitting right next to your TV set. Just don't do it. And don't imagine a pink elephant with purple tennis shoes with feathers on his head. Just don't do it. And you can understand it's kind of a silly example, but if I make a suggestion for you not to do something, you're going to do it. You're going to envision that. So when you make a suggestion, you want to make sure that it is positive, that it is phrased in the way that you want it to be. So I could say, when you look around the room, you will notice that the entire room is empty, that all you see the furniture and things are there, but the center of the room is empty. That's kind of an example of what would be a positive suggestion. For instance, if you want to tell someone that you can't lift your arm, okay? So that would be like a negative suggestion, telling them something they can't do. You can't lift your arm, okay? So the only thing the subconscious does, it focuses on the part of that suggestion that is positive, that is lift your arm. And the mind is going to create the effect of lift the arm. It's not going to decide on can't lift the arm. Now, what you do want to say as a positive suggestion is that your arm is too heavy to lift, okay? Now, what the mind is going to focus on is that it's too heavy, and the mind is going to create the effect of whatever you suggest in the body that it is too heavy to lift. So your suggestions need to be positive. They need to be specific. So another example of that might be that when you hear my voice, your body will relax deeper. Or when you hear my voice, you will release the stress and tension from your body. Now, what you wouldn't want to say is, when you hear my voice, you won't be tense, because then it's telling the mind to be tense. When you hear my voice, you won't be worried. When you say be worried, that's all that the mind can create. So what you want to do is, when you hear my voice, every word that I say will relax you deeper. You'll feel very comfortable. When you hear my voice, your mind will be able to let go easily. So those are examples of positive suggestions. Another element of suggestion is that you have permission. If someone does not give you their permission to make suggestions about what they want to change, their mind is going to resist them. They're going to have no effect. So I'll tell you how to get permission in a moment. The other thing we need is desire. The person has to want to make it happen. And the next thing we need is belief that it can happen. And that one's very important. And the other is expectation. And expectation is certainly meaning, that it will happen, but also how they're going to feel after it happens. So if you can put all of these into your suggestion, you're going to have a very effective suggestion, a very effective effect. An effective effect, I like that. Okay, so how do you get permission The thing to do to get permission is you ask the person, is it okay if I hypnotize you? And that's basically all there is. I mean, you just don't want to be sitting there with someone and saying, hey, let's try this, and you do some induction stuff and say, well, I was reading this in a book and I want to try it out. What you want to do is very directly ask permission at some point, so their mind has to agree to be hypnotized. So is it okay if I hypnotize you? Yeah, cool. All right, so desire. We got to create some desire. Why do they want to do this? Someone wants to lose weight, or you want them to get to be better golfer, or you want to help them relax and enjoy sex more, or something like that. There has to be some desire there to do that. If the desire isn't there, the suggestions aren't going to work. So find out what it is they really want. Find out what the benefit is that they want as a result of that suggestion happening. Like if they want to improve their golf game, if you're going to help your your friend, your husband, or whoever, your girlfriend with their golf game, find out why they want to improve and what would be the benefit so that you can create that desire in your suggestion. And then belief. Belief, if you are a very new hypnotist, it can be really challenging to get this belief. You have got to convince them that this is possible. Now, several ways to do this is to tell them some things that you've heard, that you've read, that you've researched, some things that you understand that are very powerful about hypnosis. So you can tell them stories about other people that have been hypnotized and things that have happened to them, creating some belief. In my case, as a hypnotherapist, I like to tell them similar stories from other people or clients or other things that I've experienced that are very similar to theirs, so that they will have that belief that they can have that happen too. So do something that creates that belief that absolutely this is going to work. You know, I know somebody, he was golfing and his game went to heck and he couldn't get it back again, and he went to see a hypnotist, and in just one session all of a sudden he was shooting 4 under par. It was amazing. So then you go and then say, let's see what we can do with your game. I bet you this will work for you. You don't want to say something like, well, I'm not sure if this will work. Let's just try it. We'll see what happens. You've got to create some belief. And the expectation, their expectation that it will work and that this will happen. If they are truly negative about this and they just don't feel that it's even a possibility that this is going to work, guess what? It's probably not going to work. I mean, there are some things we could teach about covert hypnosis, where even if someone doesn't have the expectation that it's going to work, they still will have the effects of suggestion when using covert hypnosis, but that's another videotape, isn't it? So we need permission. You ask them, is it okay if I hypnotize you? Desire, you've got to find out why they want to do whatever it is you want them to do. Belief, you got to have something that convinces them that this is going to work. Remember, you're not going to try it, you're not going to see if it works. Hey, this is really cool, you're going to be a better golfer, or whatever it is you want to do. And expectation, make sure that they have the expectation that it'll work. Okay, so now you know what you need to make a suggestion. There's different types of suggestions, of course. You could have a visual suggestion. That means that earlier when we were doing the inductions and someone goes through that door, it's very visual in a way, and you could ask them then to envision yourself being in the situation that you want to be in. For instance, if you have an illness, let's say, you've had surgery and you're trying to heal your body faster from surgery, you might have them actually visualize their body being stronger and healthier, that they're now running, they're feeling good, and everything healed very, very quickly, and have them visualize themselves doing that. Or you could use a visual suggestion, that is, to see the inside of your body healing, getting stronger. See the area that had the surgery that's getting stronger. If it was for sports, you could ask them to actually see themselves as a better golfer, or you could have them visually seeing the golf course, the ball, the swing, and everything very beautiful and fluid. Okay, another type of suggestion is metaphor. Okay, good writing, huh? Someone needs to hypnotize me to write better. A metaphor is going to be describing something, something kind of similar. Like, let's say that somebody doesn't have a really good ability to have intuition, to come up with new ideas. You might want to create something that is like a metaphor, like after they are in the induction, that they find this box. And in that box is all of the treasures of their inner mind. It holds all of the secrets and the wisdom, the creativity or intuition that has anything at all that they could ever want. And in a moment when they open that box, they're going to find that something will come out that represents a solution to their problem, or that represents the thing that's been causing the problem or stopping them or getting in their way or creating the fear. So what you're going to ask is that their mind would create a box, which is kind of a metaphor for a subconscious mind, to open that box and let something come out that's a symbol that represents that. And during your hypnosis session, you can actually ask them, what's in that box? This is it. When that box opens, this is going to be what it is that's causing that fear, or that's standing in your way, or this is going to be the answer to the problem or the solution. And that'd be kind of a metaphor. Another one might be that if there's something they want to be able to do, that you could say, well, envision yourself planting a garden. And in that garden there's a little tiny seed, and in that seed is all of the wisdom and all of the information, all of the resources and the knowledge needed for that seed to find what it needs, the water, the soil, the sunshine, to let it grow and reach up above the earth and bloom and all that good stuff. Well, what you're doing is you're creating a metaphor of something that is a story that is about what's going to happen. And so their subconscious mind is going to think of their idea or their problem they're having as a little seed that's going to grow, and it's going to become more, creative or interesting, or give them more intuitive ability, or whatever it is you want. So that's how you create a metaphor as a suggestion. Next is the post-hypnotic suggestion. And a post-hypnotic suggestion is something that's going to happen afterwards. One of the obvious ones I was saying earlier, or if you remember, I was trying to say Blue Lagoon, and you could say that when I say Blue Lagoon, you're going to go right back into a deep state of trance anytime that you hear me say the words Blue Lagoon. That would be a post-hypnotic suggestion. Another one that is really fun is the like something very common like the color red. You'll say every time you see the color red, you are going to feel motivated to exercise. You are going to feel so good about exercising every time you see the color red. And you're going to see it everywhere, sometimes on a big billboard or on a little tiny fingernail or on a button or a book. You'll just start noticing that red seems to be everywhere, and every time you see that color red, you're going to feel so excited about exercising. Well, that's kind of a fun one because they will see the color red. Or you could do something kind of auditory. You could say that every time you hear your keys jingle, every time you grab your keys and you hear that little sound of your keys jingling together, you are going to feel more confident, or you're going to feel your desire for me growing. You're going to feel really excited and want to call me, or what? I mean, if you're doing it for, hypnotizing your lover or something like that. So that would be a post-hypnotic suggestion, something that's going to happen after the session to either put them back in trance or to make them respond in some way. And then you can also say that these suggestions are going to get stronger every day. Every time that you hear these suggestions, or every time you feel the effect of the suggestion, it gets stronger and more powerful. Okay, so we have your visual suggestions, your metaphor, your post-hypnotic, and a simple, direct suggestion. Again, asking it to be positive and to be the thing that you want them to feel. Okay, so if someone has pain, this is an example of kind of a challenging one to do direct suggestion with. You want to get rid of the pain, but you don't want to use the word pain because the subconscious mind is going to focus on pain. So you're going to say that your body is going to feel good, comfortable, peaceful, relaxed. Any kind of words at all that indicate the feeling you want them to have. So if someone has back pain, you're not going to say, beginning today and throughout the rest of the day today, you will feel no more back pain. Your back pain will be gone and you won't have any more pain. You don't want to say that. What you need to say is that beginning today, that something you'll notice is that your back feels very comfortable. The more that you walk, the more comfortable your back feels, and the more natural and flexible it feels. In fact, sometimes you're going to notice that your back feels really, really good, better than you ever thought it would feel. So that's kind of a direct suggestion, just saying that your back is going to feel good. It's going to feel good when you walk. It's going to feel better throughout the day. So that would be a direct suggestion. So when you're using direct suggestions, make sure that you are suggesting the very thing that you want. A fear. Somebody has fear of elevators. You don't want to say that the next time you get into the elevator, you won't feel afraid. You will not have that fear of elevators. That fear will be gone because all you're going to do is reinforce it. Now the opposite effect, and that's not good. So you want to say that when you get in an elevator, you're going to notice this wonderful sense of freedom. When you go into that elevator, you're going to feel relaxed and comfortable. And it might be kind of amazing, but you'll notice that as the elevator begins to ascend or descend, you'll feel even more comfortable every time you're in an elevator. Now, another aspect of suggestions is to hook them to something, to create an anchor or a trigger. So an anchor could be that anytime you take 3 deep breaths, you are going to feel completely at peace. You're going to feel relaxed, satisfied, and at peace. Now, a lot of things you can use this for. If someone was going to quit smoking, or if you want to quit smoking yourself, you can say, when you take 3 deep breaths, you will feel complete freedom from cigarettes. Now, I didn't say you won't want a cigarette or you're not going to smoke. I say you'll feel complete freedom from cigarettes. When you take 3 deep breaths in that 3rd deep breath, you're going to notice that you feel an increased sense of energy, that you feel really good. That 3rd breath is going to make you absolutely feel at peace and comfortable. Whatever it is you want to do, you just put it in there after the 3 deep breaths. Another trigger or an anchor would be to touch your client or your subject on the shoulder and say, anytime I touch you on the shoulder, you are going to feel blank. Okay? So you can do a touch. It doesn't have to be on the shoulder. It could be anywhere. You can suggest that anytime that they feel you touch their shoulder, they're going to feel completely relaxed and comfortable. So if you're helping someone with a fear, and you're standing there at the elevator, and you had set this up beforehand, and you say, okay, why don't you take those 3 deep breaths now? Then touch their shoulder and say, good, don't you feel relaxed? Isn't it nice to feel so good and relaxed? So that would be an example of using something that's an anchor. There's a lot of anchors you can have. When I mentioned the color red, that was a visual anchor. This would be a kinesthetic anchor. You can have an auditory anchor that anytime you hear the keys jingle, you want me more. Every time you hear the phone ring, your excitement grows, for whatever it is. So think of some very creative anchors. Make your suggestions visual, or a metaphor, a post-hypnotic suggestion, or a direct suggestion. Okay, now there's one other thing about the visual suggestion. Some people will say they just don't visualize, and I think that basically everyone does visualize, but they're thinking that they're supposed to see things very clearly. Some people imagine things to be there. So if you ask someone to see something, it can get very frustrating if they don't visualize easily. So ask them to imagine themselves doing whatever the thing is. And when you make your suggestion, you're saying, see yourself on the golf course, see yourself hitting the ball, see the golf club. Well, if they don't visualize, or they're just not a visual person, they're not going to be able to make that happen. So you can say, imagine yourself at your most favorite golf course. Imagine yourself with the club in your hand, and then add in some of the other senses. That you feel that club in your hands right now. You can hear the birds all around the golf course. You can hear the water of the little lake over beside you. Or you can hear the voice of your friend golfing. So you have something visual, you have something auditory, you have something kinesthetic. The more senses you incorporate into your suggestions, the better they're going to work. Okay, so there are your choices of suggestions. When you're doing suggestions for hypnosis, there's a couple ways that you can create the suggestions, authoritative or permissive. If you're going to do an authoritative type of suggestion, you could say something like this. When you go to sleep tonight, you're going to fall asleep instantly. You're going to sleep deeply and sleep throughout the entire night. When you wake up in the morning, you'll wake up feeling energized, feeling happy. That would be authoritative. It tells them exactly how they're going to feel. So let's do the same thing with a permissive style. So permissive would be, tonight, as you lay in your bed, you may notice that you begin to get sleepy very quickly. And the more that you notice this, you may find that you go to sleep faster than you've ever slept, and you might actually sleep deeper tonight than you've slept in a long, long time. And when you wake up in the morning, you may notice that you feel more energized, or you might find that you just feel a little bit happier than you felt for a while. So that's the difference between authoritative, telling them what they're going to feel, exactly how they're going to feel it or when, and permissive, which is suggesting that they're going to feel it in their own way, and they're going to experience it in a different possibilities in different ways. An important principle of hypnosis is called compounding. Compounding means that you give a suggestion, and then the effect of that one suggestion, where it had a small effect on the brain or on the mind, is compounded each time you give that suggestion. So it's like the second time you give the suggestion, it reinforces the first. The third time you give it, it reinforces the second and the first. So compounding would go something like this. You really love to exercise. Okay, good. So one suggestion has a certain amount of effect on the mind. The more you say it, the more belief it has. So notice what this feels like if you were to kind of hear this suggestion. You love to exercise. 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 And when you're giving a compounded suggestion, it gives strength to all the previous suggestions before it. It's kind of like creating a belief. If someone told you something one time, it wouldn't become a belief of yours. But if they told you repeatedly, or if you heard it from many different people, the subconscious at some point would start to accept it as a belief. So use compounding. Be sure you're using a positive suggestion. You love to eat nutritious, healthy foods. 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 Every time the brain hears something, it puts it into storage in the memory, and every time it hears it, it's actually creating more activity in the dendrites through the neurotransmitters to the place where it's storing that information. So hearing it more, or compounding, is going to make it at some point create a belief. Okay, the next thing we're going to work on is a reinduction trigger, and what you're going to learn to do with your client or your subject is to put them back into trance even deeper the next time you're together. So you're going to create some triggers that are going to make their subconscious mind kind of involuntarily go into hypnosis. 3 ways that you're going to do this. You're going to do it auditory, possibly if they are primarily an auditory person, kinesthetically by creating a touch, perhaps on their shoulder or somewhere, that's going to make them go deeper into hypnosis. A visual, yeah, that's the other one, that's it, visual. You're going to create something that they're going to see that is going to be a trigger for them to go into hypnosis. So let me show you what these 3 are. Okay, one of the first ways to do this is visual. So what I would say to you is that anytime you see me touch my chin, you're going to go right back into a deep state of trance, or I could say into a deep state of hypnosis, depending on which word you use most with your subject or your client. So every time you see me touch my chin, you're going to go right back into trance. Your body is going to become loose and limp and relaxed, and you go right back into trance. Or every time you see me touch my ear, your body and your mind is going to go right back into a deep state of hypnosis, even deeper than you are right now. So you could do anything like that. You could say anytime you see me hold up these 3 fingers, that you're going to go right back into a deep state of trance, even deeper than you are now. That is a visual. Yes, it is. Okay. Auditory is anytime you hear a certain sound. When you hear my voice, say the word blue moon, or midnight, or whatever word you want. And you want to reinforce it, of course, that is in the compounding. Every time you hear my voice say the word blue moon, you're going to go right back into a deep state of hypnosis. You're going to go into a deeper state of trance than you are right now. Now that can be very reassuring to your subject, because then they feel like, oh good, because I was afraid I wasn't hypnotized right now. So they're thinking that next time they're going to go even deeper. So you say every time you hear me snap my fingers 3 times, or every time you hear me, well, knock on this, whatever you want to do, any auditory sound that is unique and kind of different. I like personally making the trigger my voice, that every time you hear my voice, for instance, count down from 10 down to 1, then I'm sure that I'm not going to maybe have that effect when I'm just talking to them. And I say every time you hear my voice count from 10 down to 1, you're going into a deeper state of trance, into a deeper state of hypnosis than you are now. When I reach the number 1, you'll find that your body and mind will be very, very relaxed, deeply in a state of trance or in a state of hypnosis. Then what I would do is I would count from 10 down to 1 very slowly, so that their brain is hearing the effect of that suggestion right then. When I get to the number 1, I would reinforce again. The next time you hear me count from 10 down to 1, you'll go right back into a nice deep state of hypnosis. So we had a little visual, a little auditory, a little kinesthetic. That's the other one. A few ways you can do this kinesthetically. One of the ways, when I'm with a client or working with a subject on stage, is to touch the back of their hand. It's a nice neutral spot. And also it's a spot that it will be a unique touch, that they don't get a lot of that kind of touch. And so you can say every time you feel me touching the back of your hand and stroking the back of your hand like this, your entire body will be loose and limp and relaxed. you'll go right into a deep state of trance, deeper even than you are now. Or a kinesthetic one would be that when you feel me pick up your arm, and then you want to shake their arm, make sure it's nice and loose and limp like you learned earlier. And every time you feel me pick up your arm and drop it, you'll go right back instantly into a deep state of hypnosis. Another one that I like to use a lot is a touch on the shoulder. Of course, I'm not going to be touching myself on my own shoulder. I would touch my subject on their shoulder, and if I did have a subject right here, I would say this. Every time you feel me touch your shoulder like this, you will go into a deep state of hypnosis, deeper than you are now. Your body will become loose and limp and relaxed, and you'll go right down into a nice, pleasant state of trance. And the whole time I would hold my hand on their shoulder, something like that, only theirs. Got it? Great. Good job. Your hypnotic voice. You know, this is probably one of the most important aspects of hypnosis is your voice and the ability that you have to create scenarios, to make people feel something, to create great outcomes, to make their expectations be there, and especially to get someone's emotions involved in the experience. The more emotions you can get involved in it, the more chances of success. So your voice is going to be critically important. So if you kind of have a nasally, funny voice, or you have a real scratchy voice, or I don't know, all the different combinations of strange voices, it's going to be real hard for your subject to relax. What you want to do is practice getting a voice that is smooth and nice and easy and flowing. And to tell you the truth, when I started doing hypnosis, I don't think my voice sounded like this. It changed over time. One of the things that changed it is I have made a lot of CDs and tapes and recordings of hypnosis. And when I do, I'm listening to the headphones as I'm making them. Well, when I have the headphones on, it forces me to listen to my own voice. And I've learned to really smooth out all of the words and the sounds and really feel that emotion myself, because my voice is coming right into my own ears, and I suppose my brain is hearing it, you know, in that same way and creating that feeling. So if you are reading some of the scripts from the book that come with this video, here's what you want to do when you're reading. Well, no, here's what you don't want to do when you're reading them. There is a part of your mind, the part of your mind that is listening to my voice right now, that knows how to make changes. So, of course, I'm exaggerating. But the problem is that it's really difficult to read and put the emotion and the feeling into it. So here's what I do. Sometimes with a client I might use a script, not too often, but occasionally I might. And I'll let my mind read a sentence of the script, and then I'll verbalize it. So I would look at it and I'd say, there's a part of your mind, that part of your mind that's listening to my voice right now, that knows how to make changes in the way you feel, changes in the way you think, changes in the way you behave. So the example is that what you want to do, read this chunk or the sentence of it, and then verbalize it to your subject or your client, because there's a lot of scripts in the book that comes with this, and if you're just going to read the scripts, you know, word for word for word, your subject is not going to be able to relax, or it's going to bring them out of hypnosis. So your voice is really important. Feel what it is you're saying. Before you say it, go ahead and let yourself feel it. And if you're making stuff up as you go, which is one of the most creative ways to do your hypnotic suggestions, feel yourself in that scenario and then pull those feelings out of you and turn them into words. Describe the sounds, the smells, the feelings, everything you can to make it a more rich experience. Now, here's another little tip from Wendy about your hypnotic voice. Actually, it's about your hypnotic breath. I have visited hypnotists in the past who don't have very good breath. When you're in a state of hypnosis, your senses are heightened. You can hear a lot of things that you wouldn't normally hear, and you can smell things that you wouldn't normally smell. So what would normally not be noticed is going to be noticed. And if you have bad breath, even if you're across the room, I swear, the person can smell it. They will notice it, and it really spoils their experience. we're going to talk a little bit about dream programming. Found a little cat that walked up, so I thought I'd let her share this moment with us. And if she was asleep, she'd be dreaming. Anyway, dream programming is really great because what you can do with dream programming is ask the unconscious mind during sleep to resolve certain issues, to resolve conflicts, to create solutions, perhaps to find new behaviors and new abilities as you sleep. So this is the interactive portion of my set. Okay. So you can find new behaviors, new unconscious abilities, make changes while you sleep, and also suggest that when you wake up in the morning, hi kitty, that there will be certain things that are easier or different for you. So what you can do at the end of the session is you can say this. Tonight as you sleep, your inner mind is going to begin to release and resolve the conflict you're experiencing. Your inner mind is going to find peaceful ways that are appropriate and in harmony with your body, mind, and spirit to completely release and resolve the conflict you're experiencing. Or you could suggest that this problem that you have, is fully known to your unconscious mind, and tonight as you sleep and as you dream, your inner mind will peacefully and appropriately resolve that problem, and your client or subject knows what that problem is. But here's the really cool part, is there are things you can do during dreaming that are just phenomenal, and I'll tell you a quick little story about something. There was a tape deck I had, and the problem I had with this tape deck is every time I wanted to record the cassette tapes, I had to hit it to make it start, because I'd push the start button, it wouldn't go unless I hit it. And so I needed to go out and buy a new tape deck, but I didn't want to because I needed to get this whole studio equipment and all this stuff. So I had a dream. I have a dream. Just before I went to sleep that night, I asked my mind to have a dream to tell me the best possible solution for my problem, because I didn't want to spend more money on all the studio equipment yet, but I had to have the tape deck tomorrow. I didn't want to get it repaired because it would cost more than the tape deck even cost. So I woke up in the morning and there was this voice saying, turn it upside down, turn it upside down. I thought, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And instead of turning it upside down, I just went on with my problem, not knowing what to do to be able to make my tapes. So finally, after 2 or 3 days of thinking about it, I thought, well, what the heck, I'll turn it upside down. Took the tape deck, turned it upside down. For some reason, it worked perfectly when it was upside down. I pushed the play button and it plays. Didn't have to hit it or do anything. Well, that was pretty weird. How could my unconscious mind know that that tape deck, if it were turned upside down, would work perfectly? There are stories like this. I have a book of dream solutions, of stories of this one guy in this huge factory and this big piece of equipment that had broken down and nobody could fix it. The story is that he had a dream that night that he had traveled inside of the machine in his dream and found this spring that wasn't working, and the spring is somehow hidden to everybody because you couldn't go inside the machine, but in his dream he did, and he found it. The next day he went back to the place and said, I know what the problem is. And they thought he was crazy because there's no way he could know that it was that. They replaced the spring and the machine worked, and there's just so many stories like that about what your unconscious mind knows that you have access to during dream states if you will only ask this to happen. So let's say you lost an object and you want to find this lost object. What you could do for yourself or for your subject at the end of the session is suggest that tonight you're going to have a dream, and in this dream you're going to be able to find this object. Let's say it's a necklace, and your mind is going to go to exactly where this necklace is and bring that to your conscious awareness. And when you wake up in the morning, this will be fully aware to your conscious mind that you will know where the necklace is, for instance, because you could have a dream, and you know how sometimes dreams, you don't remember them, right? So you need to make sure that you ask the unconscious mind to bring this to conscious awareness, and then in the morning be ready to kind of write down the first thing that you're aware of. Or you might awaken in the middle of the night, as I have before, awakened to this like voice in my head going, here's the answer, pay attention. You want to be able to write it down really quick, because if you go back to sleep, you won't remember it. And sometimes, even in that first little bit of time in the morning, you won't remember it either. So write down whatever it is. So think about all the things you can do with dream programming. Don't have any limitations of what you think is possible with your conscious mind, but rather be kind of limitless of the problems you can solve and the things that you can have happen during dream programming. Always make it positive. Make sure you're asking for the exact solution that you want. Make sure that if you're asking to release and resolve a conflict, that it is done peacefully and in harmony with the body, mind, and spirit. The reason for that is that you don't want to send your subject or your friend or client into some horrible nightmares where their mind is, thrashing through some events of their past. Okay, and always add on the end of it, when you awaken in the morning, you will feel wonderful, energized, feeling better than you felt in a long, long time. is how to bring your subject back out of hypnosis, because it's not very nice to just leave them there. That's not right. So you're going to bring them out of hypnosis either by counting from 1 to 3 or counting from 1 to 5 or whatever number you want. I tend to like counting from 1 to 5. That's my personal favorite. I don't know why. So we're going to suggest, before I even start counting, that when I get to the number 5, you're going to feel wide awake, clear-headed, and refreshed. I'm going to suggest that several times so that the mind is preparing for that. Now, some people maybe that have gone really deep or right on the edge of, kind of going into that trance state that is known as like hypno-sleep or coma state, things like that. Sometimes they won't respond when you start bringing them out. So what you want to do is really change the tone of your voice, change the pace, change the way that your voice is located. Like if you're sitting back in your chair, you might want to lean forward a little bit and make your voice sound a little bit different, a little bit brighter, a little bit stronger, so that they'll respond a little bit better. If someone actually doesn't come out after I get to the number 5 and nothing happens, I'll reach over and just kind of touch their arm a little bit. When I touch their arm, I say, now come right back to my voice, back to the energy of your body, back to your awareness of the room. So here's how the 1 to 5 is going to go for the coming up. Before I say that, I say this. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to bring your awareness back to the room and back to my voice. As I do, you'll notice the energy coming back into your body. I'll count from 1 to 5, and when I get to the number 5, you're going to feel wide awake, clear-headed, and refreshed. Before I do, I want you to let your mind just absorb these suggestions, allowing these suggestions to have an increasing effect on the way you feel and think and behave. As you sleep tonight, you'll notice that you sleep very, very deeply, very comfortably, and better than you slept in a long, long time. When you awaken in the morning, you'll feel more energized, better than you felt in a long time. Now, the reason I do that just before I count from 1 to 5, and after I've told them I'm going to bring them back up, is because there seems to be this little space of time when you tell someone you're going to bring them back up, that their mind seems to dip even deeper. And it's really an interesting phenomenon that they go even deeper into trance right at that moment. So you have an even bigger window of opportunity to reinforce suggestions, or to at least give them a little something about sleeping better or feeling more energized in the morning. So you might repeat the suggestion that says, you'll notice that tomorrow you love eating nutritious, healthy foods, you love to exercise, you feel excited about life, or whatever it is. You'll reinforce that. So here's how the counting goes. 1, bring the energy into your legs and arms, feel it coming back. 2, bring that energy all the way up into your body, from the bottoms of your feet all the way up to the top of your head. 3, your body balanced and at peace, and all suggestions integrated with your body, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And 4, your eyes will feel cool and refreshed as if they've been bathed in clear spring water. And 5, wide awake, clear-headed, and refreshed. Take a nice deep breath, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Good. And at this point, your subject should open their eyes. If they don't, you can just reach over and touch their arm and say, good, now come right back to the awareness of your body and to my voice. And just follow my voice, and then you start counting again, and you just count from 1 to 5 again. Just before you do, say this. Say, when I get to the number 5, you will open your eyes feeling refreshed and clear-headed. Okay, and then count again. Now, here's another very important tip, is after you bring someone out, for about 1 minute or so, maybe 2 minutes, they're still in trance. There's no question that their mind is very, very suggestible, maybe even more so than it was in some of the hypnotic states. So what you say after they open their eyes is really, really important. You want to make sure that everything you say is very positive, that it is repeating the suggestions that were there, doing some affirmations possibly that says, wow, doesn't that feel good? What was the best thing you noticed about your session today? Or something like that. Make sure it's very positive and that there's no questions or no qualms. Now, something that I like to do for a first session right after I bring them out is to help them prove to themselves that they indeed were in trance or were kind of hypnotized, because a lot of people have a misconception about what it should feel like to be hypnotized. They'll say, gee, I don't think I was hypnotized. If I had a nickel. So what I do is after I've let kind of that minute or minute and a half pass, I'll say, so how long do you think you had your eyes closed? Now, I didn't say how long were you asleep or in trance or anything. I just say, how long do you think you had your eyes closed? No matter how long they had their eyes closed, they will almost always say 10 minutes. It's just really amazing. And then I say, wow, isn't that interesting? Do you know you had your eyes closed for 40 minutes? And what the mind does when you're in trance is it doesn't quite remember that middle part of the whole session. I mean, it remembers it, but I was talking for 40 minutes and it felt like 10 minutes. The part that your mind kept track of was that first little piece in the induction, maybe the first 5 minutes or so. And then when I asked you to kind of come back, it started remembering that last 5 minutes and started keeping conscious track of the time. So that's the only time it really felt like there was a conscious awareness of the time. And what it does for them is they go, wow. And everyone wants to know that they were a good trance subject. So you say, you know, you really had a good state of trance, especially for a first session. The next time we work together, I'm sure that you'll go even deeper. Remember, you are creating suggestions at that moment. And what you say is that I'm sure this will get even better and better for you every time we're together. Okay, so go out and do it. You're all trained. You have all the tools. You know how to hypnotize them, how to give them suggestions, how to reinforce the suggestions and compound them. And you know how to bring them back up, and you know what to say right afterwards, and have a lot of fun. It's been a pleasure teaching you the art of hypnosis. I will look forward to seeing you in the next video, the advanced techniques of hypnosis. Change your mind and change your life. Okay? All right.
Now, when you work in the day.
What? They're not talking again, are they? No, it's not normal to have your body parts talk to you. What are they saying now? Oh my God. What do they say? What?
They're telling jokes to each other.
What are they saying? Are they not even bigger?
More bigger, 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 go higher, go bigger and bigger.
They're gritty
Okay,
breasts.
ready? Here goes. Even bigger. Now, sleep. Okay. When you awaken, your breasts are going to become so large that they're going to be too heavy for you to move around or walk around. They're just going to weigh you down, be completely, totally heavy. 1, 2, 3, wide awake. Too heavy to even move or walk around. Even bigger. They want to be bigger. Your breast asked to be bigger, so I'm giving them their best wishes. Are they still happy? Are they still talking to you? No, not anymore.
They're not?
No.
Stand up, Timu.
Yeah.
Sure, you can try. Give it a try.
Come on. Seriously?
I can't.
What's wrong? How come you can't stand up?
I don't know. They just don't want me to stand up right now.
Come
her a
on, you
hand.
can stand
Help
up.
her stand up.
Stand up. Oh.
Okay, watch my finger. Everybody, watch my finger right here. Let your mind relax. And on the count of 3, let yourself go even deeper into hypnosis, even deeper. 1, 2, 3. Deep asleep, even deeper. Very good. Good. Deeper relaxed. Good. And deeper. Good. And
This is my favorite part,
right
I gotta
here,
tell you.
deep asleep. Good. Right there, right there. Deep asleep. Your arm is stiff and rigid. This arm is stiff. But you want to get over there to that red stuff in that picture, I'll tell you. Only your right leg moves if you whistle. What do you think? Is she a good whistler? I think I hear a cheer coming on. Now, if you say the word boing, your left leg will move when you say boing, your right leg moves when you whistle.
Boing, 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 rock, rock, rock.
Next, I'm going to show you how to hypnotize a dog. Okay, Sasha, you ready? Okay, come here, Sasha, come back here. Sasha, come here. See, she ran off and went to sleep. Come here, Sasha, come on.